Sorry I'm a little late, but my wife's having a bridge party at our house. And you know how you block the garage? That's what happened. So I'm just a little late, about 5 minutes, I guess. I thought I'd just sit here today, sort of have a discussion, rather than sitting up at the table and looking like somebody important. Because I'm just one of you, and I'm here to answer your questions. This is a forum. You may ask any questions you like, and I'll answer as best I can. Okay, who's first?
I have a question.
Okay.
My name's Barbara Fullerton. I live on Bent Pine. We're having an awful lot of problems with speeding on our street. We live at the end of the street where we have the curve and it goes over towards the houses. They come around that bend, and about 4 of our houses, if we would be backing out of our driveways, we would be having problems there. Plus, we do not have sidewalks. So there's a lot of people walking themselves or walking their dogs. So we've got to get something going on this speeding. And I just wonder, is anybody getting any kind of notices when they do find a speeder? What's being done with this? What's happening with these people?
We put a new policy in about 2 board meetings ago, a finding system after the second notice went out. Last time I checked, we had about 25 notices that had gone out, but I don't think any fine yet. But there is a system of finding in place.
It just seems like they use our street as to get to that back gate.
I think they use any street,
right?
any street that leads to the exits, I think
Yep.
they use.
Too fast.
I know Heritage Point Drive has the same problem, Grand Club has the problem. Which one? Edge Park. Sorry about it. We are working on it. We have established a fine system for it. Next. Yes, ma'am.
What's the progress with the GM circle?
Linda, you want to take that one?
That's not why I got up.
I know.
Pass out the microphone.
But they're asking
Sure.
what the GM search status is.
Okay, this is one of those ugly microphones. Okay, it is working. The search committee is fantastic. The committee is even amazed at how well the committee's working together. It's really great. We've had several meetings. They rewrote the job description. They are writing the advertisement. They are ready to bring a proposal to the board and make sure that we then have the board approval to move forward. One of the things about the search committee, they don't want to do something and then find out the board does not approve. So what they want to do is they're doing all this preliminary work and then they're going to bring it to the new board. They have on their calendar, and I don't think any other than the committee, they're hoping to have it like 2 days after the election. They're so anxious to get moving. They have researched places for the advertisement. I can't even think of all the things they're doing. I'm so impressed. The main core of the committee comes from human resource workers or directors, and I am just amazed by the quality of people that we have working on this search committee. I'm really truly happy, I guess you can tell. I feel they know what they're doing. I just sit there and it's like yes, yes, and yes. So I'm excited and I feel we're moving in the right direction.
I agree with Linda. I've reviewed what they've done so far, anything they've put out. And many of you have asked why we have so many people on the committee. We've had enough bad luck for finding a general manager. I think we've had 5 since I've been here, and I'll be here 10 years next week. I think we've had 5. This time we're trying to, with that committee, use the expertise available in the community and to determine a plan of action to do the things right rather than the way we've done them in the past. Next. Ronnie?
I have a couple.
Bonnie Walsh. The salary range, that's gotta be part of what
That
the
is
committees
one of the
do.
committees.
And also the benefits offered to, that's all part of the package.
We have another group of people working on the salary range. They not only are looking at what the information that is available throughout Florida, we are trying to find communities that are similar to ours. And they are researching these committees. And what they're doing is working on a salary range. They have the low, the middle, and the maximum. You know, if somebody's exceptional, such as our last one, that's why he got the maximum. He was in the beginning, come on. But, you know, I was gonna say maybe we're aiming for a medium range salary, but I mean, we could find somebody spectacular, and why shoot ourselves in the foot if maybe that's where we wanna go. But yes, the committee has a list of, I'm gonna say maybe 8 nearby communities so that we can do something, have a knowledgeable background.
The other one pertains to the agenda that just came out this morning. Approved pricing policy for the public. This has been talked about and suggested at several different committee meetings, and
Okay.
there is a proposed policy.
About, I think, 3 board meetings ago, and at the board meeting, we asked the Lifestyle Committee to look into that point. They have prepared a proposal. I got that proposal this morning. It will be presented on Wednesday at the board meeting. Larry?
Since that's been such a contentious item, how come there's not going to be a board workshop before it comes to the board for discussion where you're forced to vote on it? I mean, this is where we get in trouble all the time. So there's no consensus in the community on this particular issue. Why wouldn't it go to a workshop prior to coming to the board for a vote?
Are you talking about the pricing?
Yeah, the price increase.
The Lifestyle Committee is recommending that there be no change. They have looked into it, they worked with Paul and Mark, and they are recommending no change. Now, if there's a discussion that they still want to continue that, no, that's what the committee is recommending. No, it's not meant to be a secret. We only just got the paperwork documentation on it yesterday, so.
It was in my box this morning.
Yeah, we weren't for sure where they were going.
I have reviewed it already, and I'll say they did a very thorough job. They even identified how many guests we had at different functions, and told us that we had approximately 100 people that were guests, were not guests, that were outsiders, and some of those could have been guests.
And that's over the whole period of a year. They found out it's just a nominal number, nothing. And I think, well, I haven't seen the whole presentation. All I've seen is what the PowerPoint is going to be. And, they'll fill us in on more of this when they're discussing the PowerPoint. Another question, Ken?
Yes, Ken?
Wait, yes, you do. It's amazing, on the tape you can't hear.
Also, on the the agenda too is another one. What's happened all of a sudden that we have an item on here, removal of the incentive programs? What's happened here that this has all of a sudden come on us today?
That was a letter the board received from Paul and Mark that said they did not wish to participate in such an incentive program. They had run into a lot of problems with it.
What about the pro shop?
Don't know about the pro shop. We did not disband it. It was.
Is there going to be a vote or a workshop on this item also?
We will vote on to accept it.
Okay, I'll talk about it Wednesday. Thanks.
Paul and Mark requested that it be removed. I don't remember Paul's words exactly, but it has created so many problems within Heritage Pines. I prefer, I'm going to read it on Wednesday, and I prefer you hear Paul's words because I think he stated them quite clearly, and, you know, let him explain what happened.
Okay, thank you.
Another question I have is the entrances, where we're having trouble with the gates and everything. The people that are going through the gates following someone, and the gate possibly comes down and does damage to their car, are they being charged if we have to have our gate fixed, since they're doing something they're not supposed to do?
They are charged if they destroy the gate.
If they destroy it? Okay. Is anything being done? I know we come through the gate the other night. A guy came through right behind us. Now, my feeling is, if the guard is not busy, he should be writing down their license plate number. And something should be said to them saying, you went through behind someone, that's a no-no. And
I'll mention that and see if they do that.
okay. The other thing that I have on my list is the lights in the communities. We've got an awful lot of light bulbs out. And if you're out walking, it's very dark in some of the areas. And I wondered, is the communities each taking care of that, or what's going on? Because it doesn't seem like they're being lit again.
The homeowner is responsible for his disposal light. Mine's burned out about every 3 months, it seems like. And I don't know it because I don't go out front that often. I stay in my den where I watch my television and play with my computer and work. And so I don't know it. It was out last week for 2 days. And I didn't realize it was out, but it's been replaced.
Rick, one of the things on both the front gates and the back gates is we've installed, we the community have installed security cameras on all those gates. Huh? Yeah, so they're taping everything that happens, because there was a, if I remember the meeting correctly, when about the security cameras, the problem the community was having is these people they'd run through the gate and profess that the gate was up and then it hit them, when in fact the gate was down and they ran through it. So that's why the security cameras were installed to catch people to do it.
Thank you, Larry. Next. Yep, Bonnie.
Who's speaking to the CDD issue at the board?
I am.
You are.
I found it interesting that there was discussion before, and I think it might have been, I don't know if it was at a forum or workshop, about the possibility of possibly getting grant money from SwiftMud for a portion of doing the feasibility study. And at the last CDD meeting, they approved spending $60,000 to pay for the feasibility study in lieu of waiting until October and possibly applying for the grant. I'm sure that's part of your discussion. And also, they voted to spend $3,000 to $6,000 to do an appraisal on the property out front. And that to me seems like a little bit before the horse, but, you know, they did it. The board may have the right to do that, but I was disappointed that they didn't take advantage of the possibility of saving $30,000 possibly from the grant. This is February, October isn't that far away.
Actually, you were at the meeting, you heard what they said. They said, do we want to do this now or we want to wait till October? And their board of 5 people said, we'll do it now and get ahead of the game.
But,
And they were not sure that the money would be there anyway.
I know, but it's.
but the county was going to give us, was it 30,000 and then 15,000 from SWIFMA? And
The
we would
county-
only have had to pay for 15,000?
What we found out when they came out and talked with us, that was what they told us, that the Swift Fund would pick up 50%, they would pick up 25%, we'd be left with 25%. They came back and said that the 19, or I guess it's their 2011 budget, which is covering now in September 30th, they do not have that money in the budget for this year. They would bring it up possibly and possibly pass it in October of this year now, 2012. It would be in their 2013 program. It was not guaranteed that they would do it. That's what we sent the request in for. We sent a request in that we might be interested in doing this. So the CDD picked it up. They decided they wanted to go ahead with it now. Their job is to do something for the entire community. And these 2 things they're working on, they feel that will benefit the community. It's primarily timing.
I think that on the agenda for the Finance Committee for this week is the item that says a discussion on outsourcing food service in this property. Where did that come from? Particularly seeing we're in the middle of talking about paying for a new kitchen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
One member of the Finance Committee, I'm on the Finance Committee, it was not me. One member of the Finance Committee placed that on the agenda, and that's why it's on the agenda. It doesn't mean anything more than one person put that on the agenda. Okay?
May I make a comment on that, please?
Certainly.
I can comment that a little bit.
Hey, you're on the finance.
I'm on the finance committee too.
And he didn't put it on either.
And neither did
Um,
mine.
This happened about a month and a half ago when we asked Food and Beverage to come in and they gave us an overview of the way it operates around here. One member of that committee at that time asked for that to be put on the agenda. And at that time, we kind of put together, it would be fair to Paul to try and say, how about giving us a discussion on, figure out a way we can get rid of you. So that was tabled and was put on this month's meeting for discussion by the finance to discuss outsourcing of the food and beverage department. This particular party did some research on that and found a place that does that. And he came up with some statistics, which he'll probably present tomorrow, about outsourcing. For your information, I did it also. I did outsourcing. I did the information on outsourcing, and without jumping the gun, I don't think you're going to see a change. But anybody can put something on an item and we can discuss it.
I think here we go again with the Finance Committee doing something that should have been done by operations first, then came to the Finance Committee. Finance Committee is not operations, they work for the board. And then continually, I think another one's golf again, isn't it? And the Finance Committee constantly, golf never rests with the Finance Committee. It's a constant topic in the Finance Committee, and it's actually an operational issue. Now, someplace, we gotta sort out where board committees don't constantly interfere with operations. And the finance committee has historically done that. Thank you.
I think that's unfair.
I'd just like to answer that question and that point. Yes, we are. Let me just point this out. That item did come up for discussion tomorrow about golf. And the committee already agreed to table that and give it to the golf committee to work on. So I don't think you should align the finance committee with saying we're working on things that we shouldn't be. That topic was just referred over to the golf committee because we felt that should be on our agenda right now. But any committee should be able to discuss anything they want. I'm sorry, Larry, I don't agree with you on that. Thank you.
I have two other things. I'm not sure which
You said
meeting is
only
coming
one
up
earlier.
at. Pardon?
You said only one earlier.
I know, but.
Go right ahead.
I've got my notes. The dress code that is coming up, and I'm not sure which meeting that's coming up at, to be voted. Are the residents going to have any say on this dress code?
They have had to say on it. There was a survey we received, I think well over 400 answers. And we had a workshop on it. And we discussed it in the last board meeting. We came back with some ideas that should be changed, and those have been changed. It'll be voted on this meeting,
Okay.
day after tomorrow.
The other thing that I have is, one of my neighbors asked me to ask this question, that there's supposed to be rumors going around that we put off the kitchen remodeling until 2/13, or 13 until the employees can accumulate more vacations, since we will be down a month, so that we won't lose our employees and they can take their vacation time all during that time period. Is that true? Is that just a rumor going around?
Yeah, part of it's true and part of it sounds like a rumor. The reason it was postponed was we do not have time to do it in the time frame that was allowed by the last general manager. He gave us, I believe, 6 weeks to do it. Our input now is it's probably going to take 2.5 to 3 months. In the meantime, Food and Beverage had booked several events for a year. And those events could not be canceled without possibly a lawsuit. There were other ways we could do it, like as Paul said the other day, we could have used this room, closed the kitchen off while we worked on it, and brought everything in. But if you do that, you have to bring all new dishes in, you have to leave with dirty dishes, you have to leave with all the trash. You can't use anything here, you can't wash anything here. All you can do is serve what somebody brought in from outside. That's the reason it was postponed. They are working on what we will do with the people that will not have a job in the kitchen at that time. That's one of the programs for operations again that's taking care of that.
This is a point of information I'd like to. With the termination of our relationship with the previous general manager, what are the rules about his access to the clubhouse and access to areas of privacy behind the desk?
He is a resident renter in Heritage Pines.
Is
He
he
has the right to use our facilities.
the right to go behind the front desk?
Sorry?
Does he have the right to go behind the front desk?
He should not be behind the front desk.
Then someone needs to be told that he should not be allowed.
Thank you.
I would just say unless he had been invited to come behind that front desk. Otherwise, I wouldn't understand why he'd be there. Other questions?
Golf meeting.
I hope that we're going to move very fast on this reclaimed water, get the study done. Because you've got a county commissioner's got a pet project going across the street that he wants that water. We have a line run to us directly now. But the county's short of 6.1 million. They're looking for ways of getting revenue. And if they knew that we were 100% willing to go on that, which I think we should, because the wells, they're going to stop us from having any more wells here. It's an opportunity of a lifetime, but it's an opportunity of a lifetime. We're not going to get this chance again, because you got the county commissioners trying to work on his pet project across 19, where we got the line now. If we get in first come, first served.
We have said that we are interested in it in writing. We have made no commitments. We've committed no funds. That is a very serious problem here, and we have a very serious situation in trying to implement it with the systems we have in here. We have, I believe, 5 different irrigation systems here. And to do, just to say, well, let's put everybody on it is not that simple. It's really a rather complicated deal and very expensive. For instance, the self-maintained villages do not have 1 meter and 1 pump. They are pumped and piped only to their individual homes through their individual meters. All those would have to be repiped.